5 or 6 of us out of all the battalions and said, you guys are getting sent to Fort Richardson, Alaska. And we all kind of looked at each other, what's in Alaska? You don't hear much about it. So we did a lot of research real quick, leaving from August, the summer months, Fort Benning, which is humidity, to the fall, winter months of Alaska is a drastic change real quick. So towards the end of airborne school, they changed it for us, and that's the way the Army rolls. So
how was airborne school?
It was a challenge. It was definitely a relief, though, because basic and AIT don't have a lot of privileges. So they gave us a little bit more privileges, what we can and can't do, and what we can and can't have. There's a lot of running. You got to build up your leg strength for, jumping out of a perfectly good airplane, as they could say. And there were a lot of dropouts. We started out with a few hundred, and we ended up graduating with, maybe a little over 100. We actually had one casualty towards the end of our last jumps. Last week you do 5 jumps. The winds were very high, and a lot of people were breaking legs. And actually, one person actually lost their life jumping, hitting the ground and smashing their head. But that's part of the risk. You knew that everything isn't going to be safe. So there was a little scares, a little nervous there. I didn't really know what to expect. I've never done that, never skydived or anything. So I remember the first couple jumps, it was very nerve-wracking when you're looking out the door and you're waiting for the green light to hit. And once you get that first jump over with, you thought that was the most incredible thing ever. The sigh of relief and the excitement, you just want to keep doing it over and over again. So as much as we were nervous, it was very exciting at the same time.
Yeah. So you leave airborne school, you're assigned to Alaska. What was it like being received at your unit in Alaska?
At 18 years old, it never really, besides being in the states I've traveled, that vast change, I couldn't say I was ready for it. I don't think anybody was ready for it. I didn't know much about it. I went on leave after airborne school, and I had my orders to send up there. There's actually 2 major bases up there, one in Fairbanks, which is Fort Wainwright, which is Stryker Brigade, and then here at Fort Richardson in Alaska, is right outside of Anchorage, which is a big city there. And I didn't know much about Anchorage or Alaska or what to expect or how desolate and large of a state it was. So we landed at nighttime in November, and it was dark, it was snowy, it was cold, and we really didn't have the gear for it. And I remember driving in and everything snow-covered in Anchorage, and we got to our where we sign in, and a lot of people were on leave, and our unit, the holdover unit, was new, and we didn't really know where we were going. I had an infantry MOS, and they started a new unit called the 1st of the 40th Cav, and they wanted to try something new and take all the Cav scouts, all the infantry guys, and combine them together and incorporate both their skills to set up a unit. So we got there a few months after it started, so it was almost starting from scratch. And we were living in trailers. We didn't have any built. We had modular homes as our squadron. It was definitely different. But as we got in there, it was so dark and snowy. When the light eventually showed up the next day, we took a look around and realized that we're surrounded by 1,000-foot mountains, so we couldn't see it at night. So the scenery there was, unbelievable. I will say it was an awesome experience. It's like going to a different new world. We got to our unit there, and we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know if it was going to be as hard as basic, or how they're going to react, or how they're going to treat us. We got there, and we had to learn everything that the scouts had to learn. So it was definitely an experience.
Yeah. Did you know as soon as you got there that you would be deployed?
We really didn't have an idea.
Didn't have a date?
Didn't have a date. We knew that the brigade is somewhat new, 4th Brigade, 25th Infantry Division up there. They went to Afghanistan in '01, and they haven't deployed since then, and it was '05. They told us that we were going to Afghanistan in '06, and we went to Donnelly Training Area, which is northern, cold weather, northern warfare. That's what we specialized as a unit. We were given gear for 60, 70 below. We were doing FTXs in -65, with wind gusts up there, which made the wind chill even worse. and they told us we're going to Afghanistan would make sense to me because we were training in mountains, we were doing road ruck marches and training in mountain environment, a lot of air assault. You know, we knew that Afghanistan was a lot of air assault type operations because you cannot travel really on foot that much. So that's what we were told we were doing. So we did a lot of training in mountainous, cold region training for months in 2007, and it really didn't come into effect that we were going to Iraq till the late summer time frame. So we kind of had to switch everything over on us. You know, they were preparing, build up for the surge that later came on, and they said, "Hey, change of plans. We're going to Southeast Baghdad." So we were kind of shocked there for a second, like, wow. And now we're going to negative 60 to 140. This is fantastic. So we ended up training at JRTC, Joint Readiness Training Center, which is in Fort Polk, Louisiana, which a lot of units travel through and prepare themselves for the Iraq environment. They actually have built up FOBs, Arab-speaking individuals there, and you do rotations as a field training exercise to prepare yourself for kind of what to expect. And it was, for what the resources they had at the time, it was fairly decent. And it kind of gave us a little idea of what to expect. Obviously, it's nothing compared to the real thing, but just going there and having that experience to prepare ourselves for the rotation definitely helped out.
Once you were told that you would be going to Southeast Baghdad, what were you instructed, if any, as to what your mission would be? I mean, did they give you an idea of security? I mean, what were you told?
Well, what we were trained to do as scouts, infantry scouts, you know, we did a lot of, you know, reconnaissance type work. You know, that's what we trained to do. We did battle drills, you know, air assaults, a lot of air assaults, airborne operations, and they didn't really give us an idea, this is what you're going to do, which ended up being pretty much everything over there. And we knew that it wasn't going to be an attacking force. You know, the Army infantry, you know, we were designed to do a couple things and a couple things only. When we got there, it was more of a presence type, you know, experience. So they didn't really give us flat out and say, hey, this is what you guys are going to do. They more or less said, this is what the environment is, this is what the old unit experienced. But I don't think they knew exactly how the tides would turn there. So we knew that the area was very hostile, just from hearing from our senior NCOs and briefings that it wasn't a really secure area, that they were having trouble. So we knew that it was going to be hot, you know, it was going to be a red area. So we kind of mentally prepared ourselves a little bit.
What did you guys do in your free time? I mean, at this point, you know that you're deploying.
Sure.
On what date did you deploy? Did you actually leave Alaska?
It was the first week in October. I think it was October 4th, I believe. And
Of
2006.
2006. So in the months leading up to it, I mean, you're living in the barracks at this time?
Sure, yeah, we were living in the barracks. We went to JRTC in August. So we were doing a lot of field training exercises.
There had to be some free time, though.
Yeah, we had a couple weeks, you know, here and there. You know, we were preparing a lot, and that took a lot of time. But I mean, we got off just like everybody else, 5 o'clock. You know, these other.
What did guys do?
Well, went downtown a lot. You know, we explored Anchorage, which was only a few miles up the road, which is a very awesome experience. We did a lot of fishing, a lot of outdoor adventures. You know, you would get your safety briefings any other way, or any other base. They would not say half the stuff that we got. You know, we had, you know, be careful downtown because of this. This is, if you're going hiking, make sure you're bringing firearms because there's grizzly bears, you know, and if you're going in the water, it's 36 degrees all year round. So we did a lot of outdoor stuff. You know, that was exciting because, I mean, the scenic views, you know, big mountain biking, even going in town, just the scenic views of town, being on a peninsula, and all the fishing, the deadliest catch boats would come in, and doing a lot of R&R trips to do fishing charters. We did all that, so that was fun. But we hung out at the barracks. We drank. What every other soldier did at the time, and went to the clubs and what have you in town. Played sports. Some football, baseball organizations that the MWR had going on. So we kept ourselves busy. Our downtime.